About to spin it back. Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. It must be time for that Spin That Back show. Yes, sir. Once again, here we are. Here we are. My name is Mr. L. Pooh. And there you go again. Come on now. Keep on spinning back. That's what you want to do. All right, that's what you want to do, don't you? Yes, sir. My name is Mr. L. Pooh. And I got my co-host here, Mr. Nice Guy, who's always here every weekend with me. And today, we're going to have a special show. Not that we don't have a special show every time, but this time, we're going to be talking about the incomparable De La Soul. And we're going to talk about the legacy of De La Soul and what they did for hip-hop and how we got into them and where they are now and everything. Well, I ain't going to really say about where they are right now, but we're going to give a shout-out to them.
I'll speak on that too. But yeah, De
La
Soul. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. Before you even go there, one thing I want to say here is, we want to give a shout out. We want to give them their flowers. And we want to say rest in peace to True Goy, Dave, Plug 2. He's actually resting in peace. He died. How long ago was it that he died? Was it like last year?
I'm terrible with the passage of time. I'm going to say something like that. But
Well, he died not too long ago. And, just want to, give a shout out to them because, like I say, they're a very influential, group. But anyway, Mr. Nice Guy, how you doing here today?
I'm doing all right, brother.
Yes, sir.
I'm here to talk about one of the greatest rap groups of all time. What's going on? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited to talk about this, man, because there's a lot to go over. Let's talk about this group here. This is where they started. De La Soul. This is their first album, at least. I'll say that. This is their first album. Did you hear about them before this first album? Was it on?
The first thing I heard. Now I was a pretty active DJ at this point, so the first thing I heard from them that was in the days where a single would precede the album. So their first single was Plug Tuning, and I mean Plug Tuning was just next level. Just the flow on it, just that zoom, 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 just the beat. I mean Prince Paul is one of my favorite producers. He's a master producer, but I mean he was really in his thing. He was really in his bag when he put that together. So I don't remember what was the flip side of that, but there was Plug Tuning and Plug Tuning and Freedom of Speak, which is dope too. I don't think it made it to the album, but that was a dope single.
Okay, I don't remember the first song. In fact, I thought Potholes was their first song. Honestly,
no, that was the second album. That was the second song. So the first song was Plug Tuning.
Okay.
And then that's kind of where they came up with the whole concept of the plug one. They were like people were MCs, but we're the plug in Macy's the plug master, and plug 1, plug 2, plug 3 to go into the PA, type situation. Yeah. But yeah, that was the one, plug 1, plug 2, plug 1, plug 2. It's my favorite De La Soul song.
In fact, the plug thing was just a routine. Like you said, you plugged into plug 1, that's his mic, and then plug 2. Then people started calling him, hey, plug 1, you this and that, and then plug 2. They started referring to him as plug 1 and plug 2. So he just went along with it, which was kind of clever, And then plug 3 by default was the DJ Mace.
Maceo, DJ
And
Mace.
if y'all don't know, these cats are from Amityville, New York, Long Island. And Amityville, if you know about the Amityville House of Horror, that's that same city. And they went to Amityville High School along with Prince Paul, which was their producer. So Prince Paul was like in the 12th grade. I think Mace was in the 11th grade. True Goy was in the 10th grade. And then Pasanus was in the 9th grade. So it was like that. Yeah.
That was an amazing capture right there.
Yeah, it was all in high school together. And Prince Paul was like a nerdy dude, and this is in his words, and he said they was kind of like nerdy dudes, and he liked that. He said, except for Mace. Mace was like one of those. I'll
He's a
knock you
dude.
out.
He was a dude. He's from Brooklyn. He was a real dude. So yeah.
Yeah, Mace never took no mess, and I found that out on the second album when we get there.
Exactly. We're gonna come back to that.
Spin that back one time. Oh, where we at? Can we spin it back? Oh, now my spin back. Okay, yeah, there you go. My DJ. Hey, we're gonna fire the DJ after the show. Yeah. So the first album was the 3 Feet 3 Feet High and Rising, which actually came from, I think, a Johnny Cash album. I think it was 5 Feet and Rising, something like that. 5 Feet High and Rising. That's where they got the title from. Anyway, so that's how you got in touch with them through Potholes, right?
Yeah, Potholes.
I didn't even hear Potholes. See, you got to understand, me at 88. 88 was a transitional time in my life. I'm like 15 years old, and there was a whole lot going on in that time of my life. It was in 88, 89, between 87 and 89, it seemed like 10 years for me. It was just so much going on. And musically, I was still into the NWAs, the Rakims, the LLs. I was still into that hardcore hip hop. So when this came along, I was just way out of touch. So, but you was listening to Potholes, and
I was again, and it started with Plug Tuning, but yeah, Plug Tuning and then Potholes.
Well, okay.
I mean, they had to sit, and I think Potholes, the flip side of that singer was Jennifer. So Jennifer Taught Me or whatever that song is called. But I mean, they were outside the box. Now they've always given credit to Ultramagnetic MCs. They said that was their inspiration because Ultramagnetic was definitely outside the box. Kool Keith was kind of crazy, but they took it. I mean, when everybody was sort of like hip hop was evolving and just sort of like getting good at what it was doing, they figured out something. They figured out a whole nother lane that was still under the hip hop umbrella, that was still true to hip hop, but just it was outside the box, and they just knocked it out the water. Producer Prince Paul, he came out from Stetsasonic, so he's already sort of like cut his nut doing his thing, and what he did with De La was his excursion, his means to just kind of just go off the rails and just do what he wanted to do, and it was brilliant.
Yeah. So Prince Paul was the DJ for Stetsasonic, and his influence came back, from doing all that, was the big influence on what De La was doing. De La had a demo tape, and he took that demo tape and he kind of polished it up and made the production a little clearer and everything, and did what he did. Now, lyrically, they were really misunderstood for me because I have to really go back and actually read their lyrics to really catch a lot of stuff that they were saying. But a whole lot of stuff got misconstrued over the years, and we'll get into all that too. But like I said, because I was on a whole different level, so what they were saying went over my head, a lot of it. But what I came to appreciate was the music in most of it. So let's talk about that. In fact, let's go down the track listing of the first album. Let's go on into this. So the first one was the intro, and it started off as a game show, and they had that same music that Cube actually ended up using for the drive-by. But this was like a game show. They was asking. They had like 3 contestants. They was like, "Yeah, you got to answer these questions." It was some crazy way out questions. How many fur balls is in something? I don't know. Some crazy questions.
And this is one of the first albums that that really leaned into the skits. So they were really kind of putting into that extra work, just not give you like 10 and run, but they were really sort of like filling it with some costly skits, because one we'll get to later cost them a whole bunch of money.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I kind of think, when I really think about the skits, I really think about the Eazy album first. That's the first album I ever heard really that had some crazy like skits going on, because it started off with their intro with the Doc and Ice Cube talking like they were old men and everything. I know the boy, he from Compton, Michigan. They were doing skits. This was the first time I heard the skits.
But were they putting music behind those skits?
Yeah, they put the music behind it. Yeah, bro. Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. It's debatable, but yeah. But they actually called their skits.
Mm-hmm.
NWA was just doing what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. But yeah, they did do that. Then they came with a song called Number 2, 3, the magic number. Well, the magic number. It was like 3 is the magic number. And that actually came from Schoolhouse Rock.
That's right.
Who was sampling Schoolhouse Rock in those days? Who was thinking about? Everybody was sampling what? The James Brown, the Roy Ayers, the whoever was from the Sly Stones,
synthetic substitution. The basics. Apache.
the Skull Snaps. Yeah.
Those type of stuff. But yes, Prince Paul was that dude. If you look at the stuff that he was producing at that time, when you talk about Groove Be Chill, you talk about even what he did for Big Daddy Kane, he was not afraid to take some Disney stuff and bring it to hip hop and make it hip hop, but just be on some whole nother type vibe. So,
Yeah, he wasn't afraid to go outside the box, because even me as a producer, I had a whole lot of records. And a lot of the famous records, like I see Dramatics, I see Minnie Riperton, I'll be like, I ain't finna listen to this stuff. I ain't listening to that. Later down the line, I'm like, man, I should have been listening to this stuff, because this is where all the good stuff is at. You know what I'm saying? But I'm thinking if it's all popular like that, because I'm thinking all these breaks was stuff that wasn't really too popular. I mean, even though James Brown was James Brown was always been popular, but he had a whole lot like the Funky Drummer.
Yeah.
Nobody caught on to the Funky Drummer till he released this compilation album called In the Gump. Well, I ain't gonna say a compilation, but this album called In the Jungle Groove. And he had the Funky Drummer on there. And Funky Drummer actually came out in like 71, 72. It was a single that didn't really do well on the charts.
And James Brown wasn't a big fan of it. It just was something that was, either James Brown or it was something. But I remember that it was one of those things that it was almost a miracle that it got released and just became the backbone of so much hip hop over the course of time. Salute to Clyde Stubblefield.
Yeah, probably the most sampled drum line in the history of hip hop. So let's go ahead and spin that back. All right. But yeah, then that was that number there. The number 2, the number 2 was the magic number. Number 3 was a song called Change and Speak. I forgot this record, even though I listened to it yesterday. I forgot what it was. Cool Breeze on the Rock was number 4. It's actually not a bad song. You remember that one?
No, this is there. I'm kind of, I like just went over this album yesterday. I'm shocked. Now I don't remember that.
And then number 5, Can You Keep a Secret? I just went through this yesterday and I forgot exactly what it was, but I know it was nice. Then you got number 6, Jennifer Taught Me.
That was the song I was talking about. So that was the flip side of Potholes.
Yeah, Jennifer, oh Jenny. Then Ghetto Thing. Yeah, that was one of those songs too.
Yeah, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Whatever, but yeah,
Then that one skit you was talking about, transmitting from live from Mars. Transmitting live from Mars. That's where they took this one little sample from the Turtles, right?
From the Turtles.
And they forgot to tell the record label that this was a sample, and they ended up getting sued for $2.5 million. That's what the original suit was for.
I don't know if they forgot to tell. I mean, all of this stuff was from all of this stuff was samples. It was
allegedly they forgot. Allegedly they forgot to tell.
This is a time where we weren't really clearing samples and stuff like that. I mean, when you talk about the Biz Markie song, and it was this song and a song from PE would really sort of like set off like the lawsuits. I mean, even I think No You Got Soul, with James Brown. These were the songs where people were just grabbing stuff, because we're just DJs. We weren't thinking too much about it. So we were making songs, and then people would get wind of this and be like, wait a second, they like stealing my stuff. And that's when those lawsuits came out. And the 2 real landmark ones was the one involving the Turtles and the other one involving Biz Markie.
Yeah, Biz Markie used a song called Alone Again Naturally. For a song called Alone Again, I think it was called on the I Need a Haircut album. Was it I Need a Haircut? I think it was I Need a Haircut album. Either way, yeah, it ended up getting the whole album pulled and he got sued. And after that, that's when everybody just started going back after people and was like, it was crazy. Yeah.
That's when
I forgot the name of the dude that made the actual song Alone.
But his next album, the next album title song called All Songs Clear. All Samples Clear.
Yeah, he wants
shout out, rest in peace to the legendary Biz Markie. We're gonna come back to him because he's actually heavily featured on one of these albums. But
okay, and then moving now, I Know, number 9.
Dope.
Dope. Number 10, Take It Off. Take It
That's
Off was
kind
the
of
song. They was talking about how people was wearing all this
take that
name
stuff,
brand
the
stuff.
song,
Yeah, take
take
that
it
off. Yeah.
off. Oh, it's kind of like a skit. I mean, it's a beat, but
Mhm.
yeah, but yeah, nah, this again, this is outside the box. This is just not just knocking out your 10, 12 songs and moving on, being creative with these little sort of like interludes.
And one more thing I need to say about this too. You never seen De La wearing the name brand stuff, stuff like that. They never been into that. That was another thing I liked about them. That's
No
what made
gold
them
chains.
groundbreaking. Yeah, they look like something different. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say they called them like hippies. They got that name like hippies and everything because they was different. They wasn't wearing the wherever the fashion was of the day. They wasn't into that. They wasn't into the leathers. They wasn't into the Kangos. They wasn't into whatever everybody else was into. In fact, they was one of the ones that started the medallions and all that old stuff. I ain't gonna say he started it, but they was one that was into the medallions and stuff. They was one of the first ones I seen wearing that type of stuff and got that whole movement going.
African medallions, yes. Well, they come out of native tongues, so there you go, Africa Bambaataa, and Jungle Brothers and stuff like that. So yeah, they were a big part of that movement, And trust me, if you weren't there, you weren't there. But I mean, you could get those at the swap meets. I mean, they were everybody's rocking them African medallions. So that was a big testament to a moment in time.
Oh yeah, in fact, let's spin that back because this is when that whole movement started around 88, around that time. It went from like 88 to about 92 until right around that time, 92, 93. Because when the Chronic dropped, it deaded all that. I'm sorry, it deaded it. When the industry went to that gangster movement and just put all their chips all behind that gangster movement, the medallions all faded away. I'm just saying. It is what it is.
You're right. When Ignace took over, yeah, all that stuff sort of kind of just went to the back burner. But I mean, there's also a big rumor thing where a lot of these media companies, particularly BET, where they put down a whole list of artists and stuff that they just arbitrarily decide we're not going to play any of these people anymore. We're going to force the mainstream into a completely different direction. And when it went gangster, it kind of never went back. It just took over.
Yeah, they say it was a secret industry meeting where they just decided that they was going to push the negativity and everything. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but that's been floating around for a few decades now.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is.
Okay, and it happened because everybody else kind of just disappeared. I mean, it happened. I'm saying what caused it, I can't really testify, but the fact that it happened, the end result happened, that you can only observe that.
It really did happen because you can look at the lineage from then to now to what's going on right now because you got people like, I mean, I'm not knocking anything with this. This is a show about hip hop from 79 to 99, but I'm just have to throw this in there. This is the reason why you got people like Sexy Red being promoted. I don't know a Sexy Red song. Only song I heard the name of is Pound Town because, just so big.
Because that one verse.
That one little, that lyric, those lyrics.
Yeah.
And that shows you the degradation of hip hop. Anyway, it is what it is. All right, the next song on there was a little bit of Soap, number 11.
Dope. This every time I think of that song, I think about that Fat Albert episode. Soap and water, toothbrush and comb. But yeah, hey, hygiene is important. So that's what's up. They made a song or a skit about it.
Yes, sir. Then Tread Water.
Dope. Again, the flow. You know what I'm saying? Just the flow that they did on it. It just wasn't what was going on. They pioneered that. So
Then number 13, Potholes in My Lawn. This was their second release.
Synthetic Substitution. Now it's very important to point out that these cats were, even though they were real outside the box, they were probably nudged that way because of Prince Paul. Because they were kind of more traditional hip hoppers. And when you look at their first song, Plug Tuning, and then you look at, Potholes, these are much more traditional hip hop songs. And that was kind of where they were at. And it was Prince Paul that was really pushing this sort of like Daisy Age, which stood for the inner sound, y'all. And and a lot of people associated with hippies, and that ultimately became a problem for them. But this is one of their sort of like real kind of more traditional hip hop joints.
Yeah, well, don't let the smooth takes fool you, because they thought they was like some hippies, and a lot of people played themselves. Let me just say that much.
A
All right.
lot of again, a lot of people thought that, but yeah, exactly. When we get to the second album, we're gonna
Yeah,
explain why they wasn't.
exactly. Then Say No Go, which is one of the biggest songs on there. Say No Go. And I'm gonna tell you like this. Say No Go, I loved it when I first heard it, because I just like, the music and everything was just crazy. And then I heard that Hall and Oates. Okay, everybody know that. You got the body now. You want my soul. Everybody know that, right? Say No Go. That was just dope.
And it's a perfect setup, and they're De La Soul, so you want the soul. Yeah,
Right.
Hall and Oates. You got
Yes,
it.
sir. But then that horn part, that how it starts off. When I heard that original song, which is a Sly song called Crossword Puzzle, it's a different version of it though. It's not the version that's actually on the album. It was like a release single or something, 45. But anyway, dope song. Dope, dope, dope. Whoever put that together, Prince Paul, he was a dope dude. Anyway, so Say No Go, then you got Do As Daylight Does. I really
Yeah, I
don't
think that
remember
was
that.
that was I think
I
that
think that
was a
was a
skit.
skit. Yeah. Then Plug Tuning, once again.
One of the greatest hip hop songs of all time. It's my absolute favorite. De La Soul song. I go crazy every single time I hear it. In fact, I remember Brick Walls, did a song, produced a song for Funky Dialect. Shout out to the 2000 Crows. And they used that zoom, 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 and it is a dope song. It was just a tragedy that didn't get publicly released, but yeah, no, love it.
Then you had another skit, De La Orgy, where he's just being nasty.
Yeah, it
Then
was
you
far
had
out.
Buddy. You had the original Buddy.
The original.
Oh, I love this track. This is another one of those songs. It's like, what the hell? And because when I heard the original samples, it's like, oh wow, this is beautiful. Because I had found the Commodores.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, this is what they use. I'm like, it was a Commodore. Killed me. Because one thing I can say about this album, all the samples from all the varieties of genres and everything that they use, they put it together so seamlessly and just made it this is what hip hop is about. This is a perfect example of what hip hop is. This album right here. I gotta tell you that. Spin that back one time, please.
That's what's up. I'm glad you came around. Glad you came around.
Just beautiful. All right. And then description, number 19. Then Me, Myself, and I, which I think was actually the biggest damn song on this album.
Yeah, that was their big hit.
Yeah, that was just the way, like I say, once again, how they put together that funkadelic, uh, whatever, I forgot what funkadelic song, Not Just Knee Deep, I think was, right? Yeah, Not Just Knee Deep. Then they used Rapper Dapper Snapper.
Yeah, they double dipped.
Just genius, just genius. All right.
And this is one of the songs they had a video. This was like their like really high quality video. I think their first video was actually Potholes, because they didn't do a video for Plug Tuning, but Potholes was their first video, and it was kind of low budget. But this is their full fledged video. This was the single that did their work, and this is the song that they didn't like. They didn't mince words about it. They perform it and be chanting through their performance. This is the song that we hate, but this is what y'all like, so we're gonna give it to you. So they were diligent to their fans, but they never rocked with it. They never got it.
And I don't understand why, because this is like one of the first songs I heard. This and Say No Go, I get them kind of, they kind of blend together for me. So I don't know which one I heard first, but I like both of them. They was just dope. This was what made me like them, actually, those two songs. All right.
And that's why they got to promote them. I've did songs where I didn't really care too much about them, but I got very positive response to it. And sometimes you got to go outside of your own box, and just accept how something is received versus how it is to you personally.
Real talk. Then you had a song called "This Is a Recording," which is all right. I'll do anything. Well, I can do anything. And then you had the Daisy Age. I just didn't get that. This is the Daisy. I didn't get that damn song.
But it's a dope. It was a real slow kind of break. But this is the title album, so it's just explaining it. The Daisy DAI, the inner sound, y'all. So that was
Right.
where
Then you had
so they were
another
really
version.
hippies.
Yeah, then
They
you had
just kind of
another
came off
version
that.
of plug tuning on here. So that's the first album. Very good album. It was groundbreaking. It was innovative. It was a very good album. I slept on it. I'm just let you know I slept. But then they came with their second album,
Before you
which
go
was
on,
Mhm,
they actually released, I believe, between this album and the next album we're gonna talk, they released a vinyl single
mhm.
that was what they called a three-sided single.
Okay.
Um, I don't remember all the songs on it. I remember that one of the see in the way that it was three-sided, obviously, you have side A and side B, and then they had this other, or maybe they called them side 1, 2, and 3. But what happened was on one of the sides, it had one track of grooving that played like the second side, and then on the other track of grooving, you could get to the third side. So it was kind of far out there, this concept, whatever. But one of the songs they had on there was called "The Mac Daddy on the Left," and that was with their dude, this kid Jeff, that's like on one of the songs on the album and stuff like that. And I mean, it's a dope song. It's a dope song. It's a shame that they kind of just waste that on a throwaway or whatever. But I mean, I was listening to the other day. The track is amazing. So Mac
Okay.
Daddy on the left.
Well, let me say this, bro. Let me spin that back for you because I have no idea about what you're talking about. To be real with you, man, I don't even know anything about them. I had to do some more research into that, but I do know about this though. The second album, De La Soul is dead. Now, I'm thinking, what the hell do they mean? De La Soul is dead. What the? You know the story behind the title?
I know the premise of it. I mean, the premise is basically that they were getting all of this sort of like hippie stuff, and they were just like, look, we were never hippies. That's not kind of what we were coming from. So let's clarify. We ain't just these kind of corny dudes. And they got tried at some concert or something like that, and they put some pause on some people, particularly Maceo, because like I said, he's that dude. He's that Brooklyn dude, So yeah, so that they're gonna talk about that a little bit when they get to one of my other favorite songs that's on this very same album. So that's what it was about. They were just really trying to divorce themselves from the whole hippie type thing.
Okay, well, the story I heard was they were under Rush management. They was in Rush's office, and they had all the artists up there and all their tour dates and everything. And I think Mace May came up to the board and erased the De La's tour dates and said De La Soul is dead, and they all laughed like, and they were like, "Oh damn, we can make that our album, our album title." Yeah, spin that back one time. Yes, sir. So this was a pivotal album. This is the one album I did buy by them, and it started off with the intro. They always had the intros. And this
Intros
intro
was
was a
hits.
little different. This intro was like, hey, this little kid was like, I guess he was at school. He's like, look what I found in the garbage. I found a De La Soul tape. It's like bumping, like, nah, I ain't bumping it. And then some other little bully cat came up and stole the tape from him, beat him up. And he's like, let me listen to the tape. And they started listening to it, and it just goes on from there. And the first song, the actual song, was track number 2, Oodles of O's. I don't know where the hell they got this beat from, but that bass line right there is just so damn dope. It's just so damn dope. I don't know where it came from. It's just dope.
Oodles and oodles of O's, man. These cats were just out the box. I mean, they were so much flavor, so much not traditional, but just magnificent in their lane. So man, I can't talk too high. I can't say too much about how dope De La is, and really just that whole native tongue movement.
Yes, sir. All right, then number 2 was talking about Hey Love. Where he took Hey Love from Stevie Wonder. And I was like, who the hell would have looped this? Never thought in my life, but it was just dope. It was just dope, dope, dope. It was just dope.
Dope.
Then you had a song called Peas Porridge. Peas Porridge. And I don't know where the hell they got this from some I don't know what the hell they got it
Yeah,
from, but
some
it had to be
childish thing, some
yes,
whatever.
some
It's a
child
peas
record. Yeah,
porridge
some
in the pot, 9
9
days
days
old.
old.
But they, even though it's saying peas porridge, but they flipped it to say peace porridge. That's what they were
Right.
playing it as. And they're just talking about how, like, and this is the song I was talking about, because they're talking about, they didn't know that we could throw them joints, but and it's so dope because they got basically this dude tap dancing. You hear tap dancing in the background and the beat, like through the whole song, and it's just real sort of like break these little sort of like stab instruments. And this is one of my favorite De La Soul songs, Peace Porridge.
Right. Okay, then Number 5 was a skit where dude was like listening to it, like, ah man, this sound like trash and everything. And it's like 3 dudes, kind of like De La. But it's one dude was like, this sounds like this is trash. The other dude like, yeah, man, it's just it's kind of garbage. The other dude was like, man, I kind of like it. Back them up. What's wrong with you? They're like, okay, let's go back and listen to it. Then they came with another song called Johnny's Dead, aka Vincent Mason, live from the BK Lounge. I really don't remember the song, to be honest with you. Let me see. Let me take a glance at it.
I remember Biddy's from the BK Lounge. Is that like the next song? Is that like an intro leading up into it? Because Biddy's from the BK Lounge. I remember that. That's a dope song.
Oh, yeah. This is kind of like a little skit. It was kind of like a skit. That's what it was. And it led up to actually to Saturdays, a roller skating jam called Saturdays. This was a dope song. This one was another one that killed me. Because that the how it started off. Dun, 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 dun. I had that record all that time, didn't even know it. I'm like, God damn, I had this damn record. Anyway, and then it goes into a drum line from Tower of Power. Forgot what the name of the song was, but it was a Tower of Power drum line. Then they come in with and roller skates and roller skate and roller skate. Then you had so much going on in here, man. It was just so much going on. Great song, great song. Then you had Tribe on here. Well, you had Q-Tip on here. Yeah, it was Q-Tip actually. Q-Tip starts it off and great song. If you ain't hip to it, go check it out. Then you had the WRMS dedication to the biddies. And that had a it's a skit, but it had the background music, same music that Tupac used for Dear Mama. Just to let y'all know. Then Biddies in the BK Lounge, which was a crazy song.
About,
yeah. Dope.
I always remember that line. It's something about letting that acid kill the stuff that should have been left to Massengill. So, yeah, he was ill on that one. That was plug 1.
Yeah, he was full. Is this the same one? Is this the one where they had let me hold on. Let me take a glance at it real quick. Oh, yeah. The second part of it, it goes into a whole nother beat and everything.
It just flips. Yeah.
That's the same thing they use for a punk skip, jump up to get beat down. In fact, that's I can't think who it is. But anyway, it's hell of a sample. Anyway, then you had another skit, which them kids talking again, and dude getting beat up because he was liking the song, the album. My brother is a bass head. I kind of slept on this one. This was like, it's whatever. I don't know how you felt about it, but it was
it was a heartfelt song. I mean, you talk about your brother being a bass head. I mean, this is we had the crack epidemic out here, but it's a whole different thing out there where people are living on top of each other. I'm just saying they just had a different crack experience over there.
Yeah, I'll lie. If you look at that movie with Wesley Snipes and your boy Samuel Jackson, the Jungle Fever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they had like a whole building, abandoned building and stuff like that. Where Chris, that's the one where Chris Rock was. Actually, no, I'm messing up with Chris Rock, but definitely with Samuel Jackson. Halle Berry. She was
she was his girl. Yeah. Anyway, then the next song, number 12. Let me in.
Halle Berry is a cracker, but anyway, still sorry.
Yeah, there was a song called "Let Me In." Started off, ooh ah, ooh ah, ooh ah, ooh. Oh, that was dope. This is dope. This was dope on a whole lot of levels because that ooh ah, and then the other song they used with do. They both got the same actual beat.
Let me in, let me. And the thing about it is, they have songs that have perfect sort of like things that you can play on in a live performance, because you're going to be sitting there, everybody else is going to be out ooh ah, and just you're going to hear on a lot of these other songs that they do. They were masters of setting you up for a great show, because they were great live performance on top of just great songs.
Yes, indeed. Okay, then number 13 was a song called Afro Connections. Great song. I like the song. I like the little, the horns and everything on there. And then you had the flip side, because I had the tape, so you flipped it over. Then you had the Rap Show. And that's, it's just kind of like an intro. It's like a skit. Then you got Millie pulled a pistol on Santa. Great Great song. It's telling the story about this girl that was getting molested by her father and how she came back. And he was playing Santa Claus at Macy's, at Christmas time, and she came up in there and smoked him. Basically, it was crazy. Okay,
Spoiler
who do you?
alert.
Yes, sir. Yeah, spoiler alert. Who do you worship? I forgot this one, even though I kind of went through it yesterday. It wasn't really one of those songs.
There's a skit,
Oh,
basically.
okay. Then you had another
It
skit.
was an interlude. You know, I guess there's a difference between a skit and an interlude, but it was an interlude.
Yeah, it was just an interlude. Wasn't really much going on. Then you had the skit with kid getting beat up again for liking the music. Kicked out the house.
That kid might have been Jeff, the dude from Mac Daddy to the left. So, you know, I just remember that Jeff was like a recurring figure on their albums, particularly in the skits.
Okay. They kicked out the house. This is when it was like kind of crashing house music in the city.
Yeah, they fired a shot because, you know, house music was really big in New York. Like, you know, we may have had a moment with it, but I mean, it was like a really big thing out there. And he basically was like, nah, they were firing shots.
Yeah, they did what they did on that. Then you had a song called Pass the Peas. Great song. I love this one.
Oh, dope, man. Like you used to say.
Yep. And then Not Over Till the Fat Lady Plays the Demo. Oh, that's another skit. That's a funny skit. This is a real funny skit. I recommend y'all look at that or listen to that. Then you had this was the big single off this album, Ring Ring Ring, Ha 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 He.
Hey, how you doing? Sorry, couldn't get through. Leave your name and your number, and we'll get back to you. Yeah, ring, ring, ring. That was like, yeah, all them kids talking about, you know, trying to give them demos and trying to get, you know, put on and stuff like that. And they're like, look, you know, we just trying to live life. You know, we get this, you know, it's not just you coming at me with this demo. It's like 100 people, 1,000 people. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that was about.
Yep. And this was a great song because it had that impeach the president beat, you know, and another great bass line and everything. It was just a great song, Then you had the WRMS, Cats in Control, which had that same beat with the Tupac, you know, Dear Mama. Then you had another skit with dude getting his ass beat again. Swing a
low kite. Swing a low kite. That's how they pronounced it.
Whatever. I don't remember the song, to be honest. I'm be on it.
Yeah.
Fanatic of the B Word. I forgot what that was about.
Featuring Drez from Black Sheep. Now, again, this is another member of the Native Tongue, so we might as well speak about it. You know, the Native Tongue was, you know, basically a hip hop collective, you know, under African Bambaataa, where you had the Jungle Brothers, you had De La Soul, you had Tribe Called Quest, you had Black Sheep, and you had Queen Latifah and Moni Love. You know, if I'm missing somebody, I apologize, but that's who I remember straight off.
You had other affiliates, but yeah, that was like the main core. Yes, sir. But the B word was baseball. I don't get it. I didn't get it. It was what it was. Okay, then you had the last song basically was called Keeping the Faith. I think that's some Prince. I think it's a Prince sample up in there.
Well, it says on here Marley, you know, Temperton, so Bob Marley. So I'm sorry. Yeah, no, that's what it says on here. So R. Temperton and M. Adams. So
Rod Temperton. That's Rod Temperton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you had the last one, skit number 5, which they had took the tape and threw it back in the trash. He was like, "Yeah, let's go listen to some Hammer."
Exactly. That's what I told you. You talking about Tribe Called Quest? They wasn't giving a shout out.
Well, you know, it is where it is. All right. So that was number 2. Let's go ahead and try to squeeze another couple of them in here because we're only doing them from the 90s anyway, up to the 90s. Then you had Bloom Mind State, and I didn't really get into this album too much, to be honest with you, but I do have it. I did listen to it. I kind of went through it yesterday. You had the intro. You had Eye Patch.
Okay, Eye Patch, amazing. And I got to say this to you. I really didn't. I don't remember a lot of this album. As I was going back to it, it kind of struck me. But, you know, then I remembered at the time, this is, again, when I was really kind of avoiding stuff and focusing on what I was doing. But, going back to it, man, Eye Patch is a phenomenal song.
Yeah, I'm not going to put it past it. In Focus. I don't remember. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I don't really remember much on this album, so I'm just kind of like go through it. Unless you want to make some comments.
Yeah, I'll make a comment if you bring up something. But again, I'm kind of guilty of the same thing. I heard it when it came out, but for whatever reason, I don't really know all of this stuff. But when I was going back and playing it, I'm just thinking, man, this stuff isn't like even a little bit dated. This very sophisticated production, and Prince Paul is still on this. This is the last Prince Paul De La Soul album.
Yes, sir. Patty Duke. I'll Be Blowing. It's number 5. Number 6 is Long Island Wildin'.
Dope.
Number 7 is Ego Tripping. I think they had
that's the one that had the
video for this one.
Yeah,
they had a video for this one. I think Tupac got mad at him for this one, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because remember he had I Get Around video. Remember they had a video that was kind of like parodying, people flossing. I kind of got mad at him. Had number 8, Paul's Revenge. Number 9, 3 Days Later. Number 10, Area. Number 11, Dope. I Am I Be. Number 12, In the Woods. Number 13, Break of Dawn. This was my favorite one from this album. Break of Dawn. I love that.
It's another single. So yeah, they were good at that, and as you keep going down this list, because Break of Dawn is Break of Dawn. That was a dope single, but now you're gonna have a skit. But then you come to 3 songs straight with Biz Markie.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Dave Has a Problem.
So Stone Age, well, not that because that's the skit. That's Dave, whatever. That's like an interlude or whatever. But Stone Age, Biz Markie, Lovely, How I Let My Mind Float, Biz Markie. And even though this says SHFE featuring a Tribe Called Quest, I think Biz Markie does like an introduction. He does an introduction on one of these songs. So he's on 3 of these songs,
Wow,
so that was dope.
Word. But yeah, Balloon Mind State was kind of like, I was like, I didn't get it. I didn't get the album. I wasn't really on Daylight at that time. I don't know where I was. I was just moving on, doing some other stuff at that time. So I wasn't even tripping. In fact, I think around that time, what year was this one that came out?
This was
93. Okay, it was 93. So if it was 93, I have no idea where I was on, but I know I wasn't on Daylight. That's all I can say.
I was always with Daylight, always down with him, always a part of it. It's just this was a point in time where I had other things going on in life that I really wasn't. Now I'm a grown ass man. When you're a kid, you can buy stuff and that be your life and stuff like this. But this is like me being a full grown up, dealing with being adult, rent, and all this other stuff, and you have to pick and choose where you spend your money. So.
Exactly.
That was what was going on during those times for me.
Yeah, around this time, I think I was more into. I don't even know where I was at this time. I can't even say. But like I said, I wasn't really into Daylight at that point. Okay, so then you got the next album, which is the last album we're really gonna speak on, which is called Stakes Is High, and I think this was a great album here. I actually spent more time listening to Stakes Is High than I did a whole lot of their other albums. Well, Balloon Mind States, let me say it like that. So you have the intro, which I don't even remember. And then you had Super MCs. I love that right there. Do you remember the song, Super MCs?
Yes, yeah. This is an album. I got this. This is when I fully got re-immersed back into hip hop. I never ran away from it, but I just I had other stuff going on that I really couldn't focus. But this is an album. I went and bought this album, the CD, one of the few CDs that I actually has. The DJ, I used to get a lot of stuff for free, but this is one that made me go get out. And I rocked this album. And this album, again, this is where they were departure from Prince Paul, when they decided that we want to do kind of more conventional hip hop, not so far out the box like they had done the previous 3 albums. And right. This was their project. This was their breakout project. This is like Salt and Pepper's Black Magic, when they moved away from Herbie.
And you know what? And the crazy thing is, they did most of the production on here. JD had did the title track, Stakes Is High. He had a couple of
legendary JD.
Yeah.
J Dilla.
J Dilla. That's when we say JD, that's J Dilla over here, y'all. And then it was like 3 more producers, DJ OG, Spearhead X, and Skef Enslam, that did some songs on there. 1 song apiece, basically. All right, so let me go on down the track listing for this again. So, actually, let me get to it. Boy, my computer be acting the ass. I don't know what be going
So
on
Super
here.
MC. So the next song was The Business featuring Common.
There you go.
Then you got Once Again Long Island. This man, this song right here, man, I played the crap out of that. I just loved it.
And then it. Oh man. I didn't realize till a few weeks ago that this was only Dave on this song.
Hmm.
I'm like, wow, this is a great song. I love that song.
Yeah, every now and then these groups, where they do that stuff, they give one song to the one person and then another song to the other person. Salt and Pepper did that on their second album. Spinderella. Pepper had her one song, and Salt had her one song.
Actually, I don't know if it's Did It or is it It's So Easy. I don't know. It's one of them that's just Dave.
It's So Easy. Yeah, It's So Easy is Dave.
Okay, it's just so easy. It's so easy. Yeah, okay, my bad. But either way, sorry about that, y'all. Hey, let me spin that back. No disrespect to y'all. Hey, I love you. I really do. Real talk. All right, so go on. What was the next one after that, though?
So after that, there's Breaks.
And
then Doggy Dog. Baby, Baby, Baby. Oh, baby.
And then Long Island Degrees, which is number 9. Number 10, Better Listen. And number 11, It's So Easy. Oh, man, I love that beat, too. That beat is just ridiculous.
This is a great song. I mean, it was a dope, platform for Dave to just do his thing because he originally Trugoy, which was yogurt spelled backwards, and Pasta Noose was Sop Sound spelled backwards. Pasta Noose always rocked with Pasta Noose, but at some point, Dave was like, "Look, I just want to be Dave." I remember they notoriously had this really sort of like dead, pump it up appearance where they just had no energy. But they were like, yeah, just Dave. Yeah. No, yeah. Yo, if you look, I'm sure it's somewhere on you can Google it. But they were on there. And I mean, this is around the time when Sister D, shout out to Sister D, had that situation with NWA and Ice Cube. I don't even know if it was the same show, but I mean the bottom line is De La Soul was super dead. And me and Brick Walls was always talking about how super disrespectful that was. You're on this show to promote. I understand that you guys are not in the hoopla. You're trying to be more grounded, but kind of be a professional. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's how I always kind of perceived them, though. They was like always kind of like laid
Aloof.
back, and yeah,
they were really aloof. That was not a good video. That was not a good interview. I blame them. They could have been better. And Sister D deserved a lot more of that. She was a big time presence on us on the hip hop on the West Coast. So shout out to Sister D.
And see, that was the difference between them and just keeping in the context of the native tongues. Black Sheep. Drez basically always had that personality.
Mr. Long.
He let that
absolute personality. Personality,
Yeah. And then Q-Tip always, he always had like a little bit more up spirit. But De La was kind of like laid back and just like, I don't even know if I feel like being here. Fuck y'all.
You notice how you snuck that black sheep in there. See, this show was supposed to be about Black Sheep, and I was like, we're gonna do a whole show on Black Sheep. I mean, hey, I love Black Sheep. They got some classics. The Choice Is Yours is one of the greatest, most hip hop things, of our era. You know what I'm saying? But they just really didn't have a lot of product. And I was like, yo, if we're gonna do Black Sheep, we need to just grab somebody else from native tongue or do something, whatever. And we just ended up.
Let's swing back to Black Sheep after we get through this album right here, and let's go ahead and talk about what we was going to talk about.
That's right. We can do that. That's right. We're gonna go a little bit in overtime.
4 more featuring Janae.
Yeah.
Big Brother.
Sisters was rocking them low cuts and ball heads. They was all natural.
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Big
DJ.
Brother beat with your boy Mos Def.
Mos Def.
Down Syndrome.
Wait a second.
Pony Ride.
Yeah, and Mos Def. I think he was when they part of native tongue too. I don't know. Maybe that was later.
No. Yeah. No, because native tongues was like very early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. They didn't come out to like 96, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then you got Down Syndrome, Pony Ride, Stakes is High, which is a great Jay Dilla. I have to say, bruh.
Rest in peace. Rest in
Rest in
peace.
peace. Rest in peace, Jay Dilla. We gotta send that back. Jay Dilla. I don't even know where to even start. I didn't really get hip to him to really know until he actually died.
Yeah.
To really
Same
realize.
here. I didn't know, and I didn't know that he was the guy behind a lot of stuff that
Exactly.
that I loved. Tribe Called Quest and
Yes.
what's some cat, The Far Side. Man.
I didn't realize it either. And just listening to all the stuff he did, especially this is one song I can take and just say, like, listen to this. And if you listen to how he took the samples and put it together, the vibration, that's James Brown.
Vibrations. Yeah. Oh man, stakes is high. And that's when they're really like defending, talking about how we're the state of hip hop and stuff like that. So I mean, it's everything that they talked about, they were talking about something. A lot of these cats be talking about nothing, whether it's negative or nothing. But these cats was always talking about something. Salute to De La.
And then the last song was called Sunshine. But yeah, let's go back to we got a comment up in here.
Oh,
okay.
I don't see one.
Hey. I love many of De La Soul's sampling and their creativity.
Shout out to the brother Charles X, Focus Up family. I'm telling you, when you talk about creatively, I always felt like Run DMC busted it open for everybody. Run DMC brought us to MTV and gave us that big platform. But I always felt like De La Soul is the one that broke down the barriers, because that's when you realize that there were so many lanes to go to. I understand that gangster rap was doing what it was doing, but you got to understand Schoolie D had already introduced that. That was already a thing. And De La bust open something else. So that's why I'm saying that they really opened creativity up and really sort of like was a platform to launch Chris Paul and his super creative production style.
I'll give you that. And I'm going to go just a little bit further and say, before them, it was actually Public Enemy, in my opinion, as far as like being creative with the samples and the music and everything. And then you had them that actually said you can go somewhere else with it. You can be yourself. You don't have to actually follow anybody, because in a sense, you had your Run DMCs, everybody kind of trying to follow that kind of trend in a sense. Then Public Enemy came, and then you had people trying to get on the conscious tip. And then they came and said, just do you. And then people started doing them, because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have a Far Side. You wouldn't have a Razzcast. You wouldn't have a few other, groups that was actually just a little different. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of like started that movement, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Oh, no, and I think that's grounded. And I will like to point out, you got to understand, when you talk about BDP and Public Enemy, I mean, these were the pillars of conscious rap. But they first albums weren't that. Neither they first albums. KRS-One's first album, they sitting there with guns on the cover. It's called Criminal Minded. They was talking about regular stuff, whatever. P will admit that. He didn't get conscious until that second album. And PE's second album is, in my opinion, the greatest hip-hop album of all time.
Ooh, it takes a nation of millions to spin that back. All right. But we're going to talk about just a little bit about Black Sheep. Black Sheep, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing was a very, very good album. And the problem with Black Sheep was they didn't have another. I think they came out in 91. They didn't have another album till 96. And by then, the fan base had moved on. Everything had changed. If they would have came back at least 93, they probably would have had a chance. And then when they came back with that second album, it was so slept on because I only heard one song off there, really, basically. And it was cool, but it just didn't sound the same. People wanted that same vibe that they had on that first album. The first album to me was very clever. It was put together well. It has some classic songs to me. People say they one-hit wonders. Whoever said that needs they butt whooped. I ain't gonna say no names, but somebody called them one-hit wonders. I don't think it was Walk. Well, it might have been Walk too, but hey, they had like 3 singles off that album. They had the Flavor of the Month, they had The Choice Is Yours, and they had the Strobe Light. But if you listen to the whole album, it was a very good album. It was one of those albums that didn't really have too many fillers. So it is what it is.
And one thing that they did that I loved and I kind of stole from them too, they flipped the bridges over. That little dun 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 dun, whatever they flipped a part of it and made like something else with it.
In the meantime,
they used their part. I'm sorry. I used the other part. They used that one part and I used the other part. I was like, oh, wait a second. They're going to sit there and I'm going to take the balance of that. And then I sort of dropped it an octave and brought it up an octave. And it was dope. So even though I was completely Camp Juice Crew, you know, I still had to acknowledge that was a great song, and that was produced by the legendary Sid G, which brings us all back to Ultramagnetic, which brings us back to De La Soul.
And Mr. Nice Guy, I didn't even realize that was that sample. So when you just said that, I'm like, damn, that is that, huh? Word, yo.
Being Brick Walls is like, yo, man. He's like, Brick Walls the one was like, yo, man, these cats flip this bridges over sample, like, you know, whatever. And I mean, yeah, no, we enjoyed a lot of stuff. We enjoyed a lot of music together. You know, rest in peace to my brother Brick Walls. You know, I can't reflect none of this history and all this stuff without me and his back and forth of all this stuff. His fingerprint is all over my taste and exposure in hip hop. So, you know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Mr. Long did a whole lot of cutting on some Tribe Called Quest or you know, Native Tongues records before they even came out. So give a good shout out to him too. Yeah, and we, like you said, we was gonna do this whole show about. Well, it was my idea to do it on Black Sheep because I was only gonna do that one album, but it was like, well, it's not enough material on there. I'm like, to me, it is because I can talk about the samples and everything, and talk about the lyrics and everything because I loved it. I really thought. In fact, when Dress came out, Dress was like on the same level as Pooh Bah to me because around that time, around
great comparison. That's a great comparison.
Around 93, yeah.
They dope rappers, but really have really dope flavor. You know what I'm saying? That's a great comparison.
And then they also they just disappeared off the face of the earth. It was like, these are some great, you know, just elite artists that just, I don't know what happened.
I don't know. I mean, because you know, Pooh Bah has resurrections. Pooh Bah was originally part of Masters of Ceremony. Literally, would change the name of the group behind here and stuff like that. So you know, he was Pooh Bah. He was doing all that stuff, and then to just get sucked into Brand Nubian, and you know, Brand Nubian went away. They did their stuff. They came back much later and still put it down. I mean, it's just like you know, Pooh Bah, and then he was doing stuff with Mary J. Blige. So you know, Pooh Bah just kind of maintained a presence for a bit. Even as an older cat. So, you know.
But Pooh Bah went off and did his own thing by himself. And then it seems like he wasn't even trying no more. It seems like he was just like bored with rapping. I mean, some of his songs was like, he's not even putting any effort into it. That's how I felt.
Hey, you know, some of these, you got to understand, some of these great artists are just being great at adding to something. If they have the onus and the responsibility to put a bunch of stuff together and produce or pick stuff, like Nas, you know what I'm saying? The end product may not be, you know, what it could be with, you know, hooking up with the right producer and stuff like that. So, you know, some of these people are limited to their own sort of like, you know, their natural limitations. They need to hook up with the right people that will push them to that great product. So, you know, it bees what it bees.
Well, shout out to Brand Nubian because Lord Jamar and Sadat X, they carried it on without Pooh Bah. You know, and they did their thing. In fact, they were
the original group. They weren't. Pooh Bah wasn't supposed to be on a group. He just was sort of like, I'm gonna bless y'all with this and get out the way and let y'all take over. And I think that he was pressured to kind of like be a part of it. So they went on and did their own thing. But then when they came back, he was back there. So you know.
You know, one day we want to have a show on Brand Nubian. I guess
I love it. Hey, you know, we talk about Brand Nubian. This is gonna give me an excuse to talk about Masters of Ceremony. But yeah, we definitely gonna Brand Nubian deserves to be talked about. You know, just because you know Lord Jamar is still doing stuff to this day. He is a massive presence on YouTube and his opinions. You know, so he's a soldier for the cause. You know.
Oh yeah. Enough respect. Hey, Lord Jamar, shout out, bro. Real talk. Keep on doing what you do, bro. I learned a whole lot from y'all. Like I said, it was you had the conscious rap, and Brand Nubian was right there. You know, when I think about conscious rap, I think about Public Enemy. Second person I think of is Brand Nubian. I mean, of course, I think of BDP, of course. You know what I'm saying? You know, KRS, but Brand Nubian, and then PRT, you know, they all go into that conscious rap, you know.
Especially when you go into the Nation, them brothers from the Nation and stuff like that. You know, it was definitely about building.
God Body, God Body, Nation, you know, 5%ers, you know, shout out to Rakim and all them. Yeah.
Shout out to Born Alive. But yeah, Rakim, yeah.
Hey, Born Alive, I shot you an email, brother. You know, respond back and tell me if it was trash or whatever you want. All right, let me see. Ernest Cook had left a message here. He said, is there a reason they never released a AOI 3 dedicated to the DJ? What's AOI? What's that?
Art of Official Intelligence. Okay. See, we stopped off because we're technically 79 to 99, but I always say that if an artist during that period does something later, it's fair game. So we didn't get into the artificial. So it was called art, official, but but play on like artificial, like as in fake, but it's art of official. But yes, De La, man, De La,
okay.
yeah, De La put in that work. I really wanted to talk about it too, because I mean they had that scream where they be screaming at the beginning. I mean, actually, I guess that's probably like Blue Mind State, but they got some stuff, they flipped it on that. So those cats never died, even when they did a whole album as somebody else. They did an album called it was oh man, I can't believe I forgot it. But De La Soul did an album where they basically pretend to be these completely different people that had a whole history, that were doing music, broke up, and end up coming back first take. That's what it's called, something like that. And I mean, it's just dope. It's so creative, and then they did the album where they did crowdfunding and stuff like that. So right. De La, those cats is putting in work. And it was a tragedy that Dave died. I mean, it's a tragedy when we lose any of our soldiers, when we lose one of our brothers, when we lose any of our human beings. You know what I'm saying? But they finally got their rights back to their catalog. Yep. So they were going to go in heavy promotion and stuff like that. But you know what? They still putting in that work. They still putting it in. Right.
So. Hey, we love y'all, De La. But I'm just have to say this: De La and A Tribe Called Quest would never be the same without those two losses of Dove and Fife. I'm sorry, but anyway. That's the way we're going to end it up today on this show. So we want to thank y'all for coming back and supporting us once again on here on the Spin That Back show. Check this out. Next weekend, we're not going to be here because I got some things I got to do. I got to take care of business. I got to pay bills and everything. So it is what it is. But we do respect y'all coming in. And those that's in here right now, click that like, hit that subscribe button, hit that share, let your peoples know, let them know to do the same. And we're going to be out of here. All right, Mr. Nice Guy, take us up out of here, brother.
That's fine. That's what's up. Hey, and since we're not gonna have no Spin That Back next week, we're gonna have Mutant ROC, Right of Center, Mutant Politics with Charles X and myself. So we're gonna be talking some politics. So that's what's up.
All right. Peace, y'all.